Jacques Guillaume, The Shadowed Canvas. Montreal, 1987. Jacques Guillaume sat in his small office above a boulangerie in Little Burgundy, flipping through an old letter. The client, Madame Elise Moreau from Quebec City, wanted him to trace her Grey-Tuncle's branch of the family in France. "There may be an inheritance," she had said, "but mostly, I want to know who we really are." Jacques, ever the romantic detective raised on Sherlock Holmes and the Hardy Boys, took the case. 2 weeks later, he was in Paris. The search begins. He started in the Marais district, following old records and faded photographs. The trail led him to a quiet village near Fontainebleau, where he found Henry Laurent, an elderly man who claimed to be a distant cousin. Henry welcomed him warmly, offering wine and stories of the old family, but something felt off. The man avoided questions about the war years. Jacques, with his quiet persistence, began digging deeper. In the village archives and through discreet conversations with locals, a darker picture emerged. The hidden collection. One rainy evening, Jacques broke into an old locked storeroom behind Henry's large country house, with the moral flexibility of a man who believed truth mattered more than minor trespassing. What he found stole his breath. Dozens of paintings, some still in original frames with Nazi inventory markings, a small Renoir, a Degas ballet scene, a landscape by Pissarro, all listed in post-war restitution records as looted by the from Jewish families in Paris in 1942-44. But the real shock came in the ledgers. The collaboration had been run by Etienne Laurent, Henry's father, a respected art dealer who had worked closely with Nazi officials, identifying wealthy Jewish collections and facilitating their transfer to Germany in exchange for protection and profit. After the war, Etienne had reinvented himself, claiming resistance credentials while quietly selling off pieces through Swiss channels. Jacques felt sick. This was the family Madame Moreau had hoped to reconnect with. The confrontation. He confronted Henry the next morning in the sunlit courtyard. "You knew," Jacques said quietly, his French-Canadian accent thick with disgust. "Your father didn't just survive the occupation. He profited from it. These paintings belong to people who never came home." Henry's face hardened. "My father did what he had to do. Many good Frenchmen made difficult choices. You Canadians have no idea what it was like." Jacques shook his head. "I know enough, and I know this wasn't your branch of the family." Henry looked confused. Jacques placed documents on the table. "Your father was from a different Laurent line, a cousin branch that split off in the 1890s. The real descendants of Madame Moreau's direct line were the ones who hid Jews and lost everything. Your side stole from them." The old man's shoulders slumped. The evil had been exposed, but it belonged to the wrong branch. The family tree was now painfully clear. Resolution. Jacques arranged for the artworks to be turned over to French authorities and international restitution organizations. Several pieces were later returned to surviving families or their descendants. Madame Moreau wept when he told her the truth in Montreal. "At least now we know who we are," she whispered, "and who we are not." Jacques lit a cigarette on the balcony, looking out over the St. Lawrence River. Another case closed. The family tree was straightened, even if some branches had to be cut away entirely. He smiled faintly. Sometimes the hardest part of being a detective wasn't finding the truth. It was deciding what to do with it once you had it.